Today, what will be the first thing said after this intro? Find out on CheckPoint.
You have the best intros, Paul.
It was you. That was the best. That was the first thing said.
See, we could have had that.
That could have been the first thing people heard.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to ChillPoint, the show where we talk about CheckPoint and talk about video game news. Talk about this week's video game silliness, about CheckPoint, and about stuff we didn't talk about on CheckPoint, but thought was worthwhile to talk about anyway.
Yeah. First story being Graham has a secret passage in his house, apparently.
Apparently so, yes.
Apparently, yeah.
And I'm surprised you gave that information away.
He hasn't shown it to me.
It's not a secret passage if you're just going to show it to people and throw tours.
I feel like having a secret passage when you live in an apartment is tricky because, like, theoretically, that's just like the next person's.
Yeah, that's just your downstairs neighbor.
I've got this amazing basement.
Yeah.
It's got like a full suite in it.
Did you see that the series of TikToks from the woman who was like, I was feeling a draft in my bathroom, which is weird because all my windows are closed and there's no fan running or anything else, and I was like running my hand along the walls to find it, and I just put it near the mirror, and I felt a draft from behind my mirror.
Ooh, mirror's a good hiding space.
And so she took it off, and it's kind of like you expect that it's like, oh, there's probably like a little like a hole in the wall behind it that's like big enough to like put your weed in there or something like that. And she took it off, and it was this big. A whole human body could easily fit through this huge. It was as big as the mirror itself. And think about how big the mirrors are over most bathroom sinks. It was big enough for the mirror to just barely cover this hole.
Was that like a one-way mirror?
I don't think it was, but that'd be creepy. But there was more. There was on the other side. There's a room there. I think it was actually the other bathroom, like another bathroom. And so she was like, "What on earth?" And so she got all done up,
a tripod and a camera set up.
Yeah, and she got like a flashlight and like a hammer for protection, and she's there with her boyfriend or partner or whatever, and he's like, "Are you sure?" He's like, she's like, "I gotta go through this," and she goes through the other side and walks around. It's a complete other apartment. Nobody lives in it. There's no furniture. It's just kind of like dirty as hell because of like dust and debris and stuff just kind of laying around. And she's walking around, and it's a townhouse, I think, because there's stairs inside of it too. And she just walks around the inside of this thing, goes to the front door, and exits into the same hallway essentially that her whole complex or whatever kind of empties into. And it's like, holy shit! Like there's a whole apartment here that no one is renting. That doesn't seem to belong to anyone.
But you're definitely going to want to fix that hole now.
You want to fix that hole. So she basically got a hold of her landlord like that night to be like, hey, you need to come over. I have something very interesting to show you about our apartments.
I was hoping you were going to say open the front door and it was just like brick. Somehow hit like bricked up.
Because at that point, it's like you don't tell a soul that you have a second apartment. You just like you keep renting this one, and then you try to find a way to rent the other one to somebody else.
No, I don't even do that. I don't even tell you about secret apartment. I have special place just for me.
It's like, yeah, it's 2 bedrooms and another kitchen and whatever.
That's why I don't tell you about secret roof.
I don't think it had any electricity running. She didn't try the switches or anything, but it was real interesting. Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, that was unrelated to gaming news, which is what we're talking about today.
Secret passages!
Starting with, there's this whole, now, so there's a story about sort of Switch Pro alternatives, new Switch alternatives that have been coming out. and or that have been not even coming out, have been announced. This idea that the form factor of the Switch, is something that people want to emulate, but not actually, like, they want to make other things that are that same shape and mostly
clearly
same
the success of the Switch is based on what it is.
I feel
what
like
it looks
they've all been kind of working on one for a while, because there was a GDC. I think the last GDC had a model that people had played with that was Android or Windows or something.
Like the Switch. The interesting part about the Switch is the Switch part, like the control. The idea of a screen with controls on either side is like not that innovative. We've had those before.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine even has 2 screens on it.
Yeah, and also, like, even in the realm of like computer stuff, like there have been like portable gaming things. They haven't been very successful mostly. From various companies, they've been like, "Hey, check this out! You can play video games on your like it's like a computer, except there's controller stuff on either side." So the detachable controllers was kind of the cool thing that the Switch had. Like that was one of the really neat aspects of the Switch that sort of made it, and the way the switching, converting it to
The dock,
a desktop,
yeah.
you
kind of need both of those things, really.
And so this is, coming up with different ideas for, for other stuff. I mean, it's interesting. Like Tencent is apparently doing one. The Qualcomm one is interesting, especially since Qualcomm doesn't usually produce consumer goods.
No.
Like they more are like a manufacturer. They produce chips which then go into things that people make. So the idea that they are producing some sort of handheld device to sort of show off the abilities, I guess, of their new Snapdragon stuff is interesting. How useful it will be, I don't know.
There's definitely a feeling here when I look at all this, because it's like when the Switch was revealed, and people kind of, we all lost our minds about it. Obviously, there were other companies. There were other companies in China specifically who were like, "All right, time to knock this off and make it an Android tablet." And let people put games or whatever on the thing, or make it one of those 150 in one type things. Like it was basically
the Smitch.
I don't really remember.
Something?
There's one called the X2, which is a more recent one, which we didn't talk about. But there are lots of lots is like there's more than one. Like it's weird. I can't do the voice. It's weird that it happened twice. Like it's kind of that thing where it's like that this thing. It's like somebody made this and it works, and that was the point of my story. Is like, hey, look, Nintendo made this thing, and now other companies that aren't just fly by night bullshit like factory whatever make a rip-off thing. Tencent wants to make its own Switch-looking thing, and Qualcomm wants to make its own Switch-looking thing, which is weird for Qualcomm. And it's like the idea that these things are getting made blew my mind, because I'm like, you clearly do not see how people are going to look at you doing that and being like, well, you're just straight ripping off a thing that already exists that we're quite happy with.
But the thing that is. To me, like it's like that part, like the form factor of the Switch is not the thing that has made the Switch super popular, right?
No!
A Switch that doesn't play Switch games isn't any good. Like,
no,
it's not.
That's something you sell on eBay for parts. Like that's
like
I think they could at least change the button layout.
Yeah, put the X somewhere else.
Like
maybe on the left hand.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you don't want to mimic the joysticks being off like this.
Yeah,
most people don't. That would probably help you.
Perhaps, yeah.
I don't know.
Now, a thing we didn't actually mention in this story is that as a separate thing, there are actually now, of course, there are always rumors about this, about a Switch Pro. We are in a constant state of Switch Pro rumors. But
Yep. Consistent.
and if we're not hearing anything about the Switch Pro, that's because it's even more imminent, and so everyone's being super quiet about it.
Yes.
Yep.
How
that's
coy.
That's just evidence that it's absolutely happening, according to every forum person I've ever read.
But there
I
is
gotta stop hanging out there.
There is actually some interesting stuff about because the Tegra NVIDIA Tegra processor that the Switch uses is not actually something that NVIDIA produces anymore, except presumably especially for Nintendo or whatever. But it's not something that they're pushing anymore.
So the X1, the Tegra X1 though, I thought was rumored to be discontinued, not that it was actually being discontinued.
Oh, that could be it. It's just
no one knows when it's being discontinued.
Just they know
supposedly
it's coming.
it's going to be discontinued.
Yeah,
but it's the thing. It was a chip that was used in quite a few different things that were kind of in the same area, and all those other things have stopped being produced. Only the Switch is using it now, I think.
Yeah.
But NVIDIA, of course, has been making lots of other chips. And there's been, talk about this idea that, especially one of the really big things that NVIDIA's been pushing is their sort of upscaling fancy technology. It uses AI stuff to basically give you 4K.
It's called deep learning super sampling, or DLSS.
And it's something, is that what that stands for?
Yeah, and you need something. You need tensor cores. You may have heard of this before, but you need tensor math to be able to do a lot of that kind of work, which means you need tensor cores to do that. And a lot of the more modern RTX graphics cards from NVIDIA have just banks of tensor cores to do a lot of that math really quickly.
Yeah, and like one of the sort of big pushes that NVIDIA has been doing is the RTX stuff. So, the some of the more fancy sound things and using that AI stuff or neural network things. And so they've got this technology that does this super sampling things. And that could be a good, and sort of that is rumored to be a consideration. Basically, it would make it so that, and to be honest, it sounds kind of like something Nintendo would do. It makes it so that the Switch can be 4K without actually having the grunt of the the PS5s and the Xbox Series X and stuff to do
because it's not
actual 4K.
Yeah, it's not a native 4K. It's a
It's
kind of an upscaling.
Yeah. It's upscaling, but like better. But but it would allow them to kind of go into that area which they like to be in, which is or they seem to like to be in, which is being, low powered but fun.
Yeah, and that would be docked only from the rumors I've read. They're still going to go with like 720 on supposedly a bigger, nicer screen.
So part of what I was reading with that too, though, Sam Mashkovich did an op-ed on Ars Technica. And we like Ars Technica at CheckPoint because Ars Technica is very good about writing technical articles and trying to be as correct as they can. They tend to put some time into those things. And I like Sam's articles. I think he writes really good stuff. And so he did an op-ed talking about how the Switch Pro is really just kind of, that's the start of NVIDIA's ambitions with what they want to do with banks of tensor cores and with deep learning super sampling and with those kind of things. But how it relates to the Switch Pro idea is that maybe it isn't a thing that is only available in the dock. Maybe it is something that would be available on the Switch, and it would be on the Switch Pro itself, and more of a thing where it's like the Switch Pro only has to output in like 540p for a 720p for its 720p monitor. But using DLSS cores that are on board the thing itself, when you have it in handheld mode, can actually upscale that 540 to 720. And then when you have it docked, can upscale that 1080p to 4K. So it might even be a thing of if we can put enough of the processing grunt into the device itself as opposed to putting it into a dock, that might be their process. Because be like, well, then why bother actually rendering out something at 720p for a 720p monitor when you can render it low res and the cores are good enough to actually upsample it to 720 and with no actual visual degradation.
Wouldn't you be like, wouldn't upsampling though, like on the inside for 720 cause more wear on the battery? Well, like, wouldn't you just want so that when it's docked, not that it has to be in the dock, but that it's only active when it's docked?
It largely depends upon how much power it's actually taking to do all that work in the first place. Is the question? Because there's been talk about, does it take more work to take a low res image and super sample it into a higher res image, or does it take more work to actually render something with that many pixels in the first place with all the other kind of the temporal sampling and stuff that you do?
You're going to need that 720, what it already does, in order to play the older games, because from what I understand, you can't just add DLSS and be like, it's on all the old games now without patching the software.
Well, DLSS is one of those things that the 1.0 version of it actually had to play the game for a while. Like, it had to learn how the game worked and how it rendered stuff so it could actually apply the deep learning to it and learn how to do things. DLSS 2.0 that NVIDIA's moving now, that's something that doesn't have to play a game beforehand. It's something that can actually be applied to the game while you're playing it for the first time. It's kind of crazy. Like, there's a lot of technical jiggery-pokery that's going on here that I don't have a clear mind on, but reading what people are writing...
You need to do any software patching on this on that at all, though.
You shouldn't have to, is the issue, right? And if you have, like... If you're loading in a native 720p game from an old Switch into a Switch Pro, the hope is that even the faster processor, just the what was in there already, is already better than the Tegra X1 or K1 or whatever it is, that it's going to be able to play that back at 720p to whatever screen's in the thing, and you're gonna have like a good or a better experience anyway.
But yeah,
it is super complicated.
I mean, it would be...
I don't follow you enough to argue you. It's annoying.
I mean, something you were saying there, like, it would be fast. Like, it probably won't happen, but a fascinating way that that you could imagine an upgraded Switch would be like, like a $200 dock, right? That's just like a new dock that you put your Switch into that gives it a little bit more oomph, which would be kind of a neat idea. I think people have been talking about that since the Switch came out.
It's been an idea that people have been bandering about a little.
And the thing I'm talking about is...
Because already, of course, the Switch gets more powerful when it goes to the dock. Anyway, just because it runs its processor more because it's got better cooling and stuff when it's in the dock. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have to run the screen.
A lot of the stuff that I'm talking about here, though, is, again, still all conjecture. It's people just being like, here's what we understand.
That could happen.
Yeah, here's the extrapolation of it, because this looks to be what NVIDIA's trying to do beyond even a new refresh of the Switch, is that they want to be doing this kind of thing for processors, like for what they're creating, moving beyond that. And then you have to put that together with the fact that NVIDIA is trying to buy ARM, and there's a lot going on with all of these moving bits, and what does all of that mean for NVIDIA, and what does that mean for, the Switch, which is based on NVIDIA parts.
In terms of the Switch, I think it does mean that since Nintendo is partnered with NVIDIA is going to be potentially the group that kind of pushes it a little harder than maybe what Nintendo would have done on their own.
Absolutely. Just
because they have that as their priority, and maybe Nintendo never really has.
Yeah.
So that could be interesting.
But to have something like the Switch as sort of a killer app for your technology, to be able to be like, this is the game, this is this new chip that we're coming out, and to show off how cool it is, this is the Switch, is pretty compelling. But
yeah.
My
thing is, okay, let's say Switch Pro comes out.
Okay.
Do you think it supplants the original Switch? Like, they're getting rid of that old chipset, so the original Switch is probably going to go away, and the Switch Pro will just be what there is.
Right.
What happens to Switch Lite?
Exactly.
Yep.
Maybe
There's
it runs
all
a
sorts of
lower
different-
clocked version.
But did they update it, or did they're just like, we're not really doing that anymore? Maybe that's not our thing. We just want to focus on one.
Well, they updated the original Switch to the new internals when the Switch Lite was being made.
Yes, and I mean, I think that was more to do with making those be on par with each other, so you're making the same
And so
materials rather than.
if you wanted to do the same thing, there's probably still value in saying we're going to buy lots of the parts going into the refreshed Switch, and so we want to refresh the Switch Lite as well because we want it all based on the same technology. Even though the Switch Lite will never get plugged into a TV because it cannot.
Well, I mean, you don't need to add in certain things for that, but I think you're going to have to if the idea is the specific chipset within the original Switch goes away,
Yeah.
and the Pro is what's just going to like supplant that, they're going to hit a point where they can't make Switch Lites anymore unless they change the Switch Lite.
Because the system on a chip inside it, the Tegra X1, I think is what it is. Because that's not available for the regular Switches, it's definitely not available for the Switch Lites. So do you just discontinue the Switch Lite altogether?
Right.
I mean, I assume you
because
you
they're
have
not
it for
available,
a while,
right?
Like the manufacturing stops, but if you still have the parts until you use them up,
Yeah.
you probably keep it around for a while. But do you get rid of it? Do you make something new?
If they're the last customer, you probably burn through all the parts that you've ordered. And then when that's done, it's like, okay, then we're done with those.
Anyway, all sorts of stuff there. Obviously, you can speculate all you want about these kinds of things, but
People do.
nobody knows anything. So it's mostly just kind of like, this is cool things that
But-
could happen.
Yeah.
No, nobody who is not willing to lose their job knows anything.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, people at Nintendo know.
Yeah.
Just
And to some extent, people at NVIDIA probably know what's going on with the production level of their chipsets.
I've seen people who are fairly reputable insiders get slammed with questions over and over, and it's just like, leave them alone. They tell you what they can, and they
Yeah.
try to tell you in a way that
Yeah.
doesn't get anybody fired.
It's like, yeah, either they don't know and they can baselessly speculate, or, I mean, that's actually kind of fun, right? Like that happens sometimes with Magic things, where especially, like the people who like work for Wizards of the Coast, like Mark Rosewater and all these different people, people will ask them totally outlandish questions, and he'll be like, "Oh, that would be fun," blah 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 blah. And then, but if somebody asks him a question and he doesn't speculate, then it's like, interesting. It's like, or he'll just be like, "Huh, that's an interesting question."
You're like, oh, that's the real story. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of Magic, actually, Magic Arena is going to be coming out on mobile, which obviously there are various elements of the Loading Ready Run crew that are very excited about that.
In as much as it already has come out on mobile. Like, it came out on the day I think we did the story.
Right, came out yesterday.
Yeah.
So yeah, on mobile and tablet, of course, which seems really cool. I mean, heck, I might actually try out some Magic Arena on tablet. It seems like a kind of fun thing to do. When lying in bed in the morning or in the evening or wherever, just chilling. So that's sweet. And also Rocket League, which there's like they seem to be kind of they don't seem to be like saying it sort of explicitly, but from all the videos it appears to be like the mobile Rocket League Sideswipe is like a 2D Rocket League. Like you drive back and forth. As far as I can tell from all the videos and stuff, it's like, it seems weird that they don't just come out right out and say it, but it's a 3D game, but you're on one plane, driving back and forth, and presumably the swipe aspect is you can move around and stuff. But seems like it could be super fun too. yeah, I mean, that's all that story is. It's just these two games are coming out, have been hotly anticipated, and are coming out. Also, speaking of people who are coming out of things,
Yeah.
What?
Reggie Fils-Aimé is coming out
Oh.
of GameStop,
Yeah.
as well as a bunch of other people who are coming out of GameStop.
A
leaving
bunch
GameStop.
of other people.
Yeah, a whole bunch of people we don't know the names of and we don't care about as much
8.
as we care about Reggie because he's a meme.
But 8 out of 11 people
Yeah.
left the GameStop board at once, or are leaving it by June at once. That's
yeah.
unusual.
Maybe board of directors is like the school year where there's intake at a certain time of year and then there's outtake at a certain time of year, and they've all been waiting.
I feel like there's, obviously with all this
They graduated.
all the shenanigans with the GameStop stock price and things, which they're sort of recently got mentioned again because GameStop just released their like quarterly earnings report and it wasn't good. And of course their stock went shooting way up because their stock has no actual relationship between its value and what the company is doing. And I can imagine, as somebody who, of course, doesn't know anything about I don't know much about the stock market or the kind of financial stuff that a company, a company at that level has to deal with. I feel like, though, if you are on the board of directors for a company whose stock price is so completely messed up, like it's not only massively overvalued for reasons that nobody, that because people are sort of doing weird stuff to it, and it keeps going up and down and up and down and all this stuff. I feel like there's this real, even if it's not like, and it's nothing you're doing, right? It's not your fault. But even if it isn't, I feel like there's a lot of danger potential for like being caught in some sort of financial malfeasance situation. It's like, did you know this was happening? Did you try to sell some stock while it was happening? Did you mention that this was? I feel like this is one of those situations where it's like, if you even comment on the fact that this is happening, that could be construed as like manipulation of the stock or something.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to be super. And so it's like, if you are somebody who, like, for instance, Reggie, who doesn't really have any skin in the game, like he's did the thing on Twitter about GameStop, but I don't think he really cares about GameStop. It just seemed like kind of an interesting thing to do. If you're in that position, it's like, okay, I'm just going to step back on this before something weird happens.
I pointed
and I'm,
out like
caught up in this like bubble of clearly bad stuff that's happening.
I dropped a clue in this story.
Is there an ARG going on?
Yeah, I dropped a clue as to why Reggie left this, because I said in the phone call as to like how you get someone to cover you off on the board of directors is like, then if you can't cover, we can't protect shareholder assets and ensure the highest amount of returns on investments. And that's literally the job of a board of directors in a public company, or even in a private company when you think about it, but really in a public company, their highest fiduciary duty within the United States is to protect shareholder assets and investments. That's what their job is to do, which sucks because a lot of times a company is not meant to be return on investment for shareholder value. That's not why people form companies in the first place, is not to be like, I wanted to make this woodworking thing out of my garage because I wanted to someday ensure that some fat ass jackhole sitting in an ivory tower somewhere sees the ticker go up 0.1% on his overall value. People don't do that shit, right? But boards get formed because you want to have multiple people sitting there to say, we need to ensure that the company remains stable and functional and that it grows and that the assets continue to grow and that if somebody is invested in the company, that their investment grows. I don't give a shit about the consumer unless giving a shit about the consumer means that I see somebody's investment goes up. And I'm sure in this respect, eight of those 11 people were probably like, we can't control what the stock is doing.
Right.
We have no bearing on what's going on there anymore.
We can't guarantee the value of the company is going to go up or down or sideways or whatever.
Yeah. And that's the whole point of if our decisions have no bearing on whether that stock price is going up or going down, if we're having no part of that going on, then our job here is valueless. We don't need to be doing it.
Well, we have no control and yet could theoretically possibly be held responsible.
Yeah.
There's definitely some awkward stuff that, like I was saying, like if you don't really care about GameStop and we're just on the board of directors because it seemed like something to do, I could definitely see that it's like, this is not worth the headache.
Yeah. So, I mean, good on them for deciding it's time to step off the ship and move on to something else. And who knows, it's the kind of thing where I feel like you would want to replace it with new people on the board, but what is probably going to happen is the new people on the board would end up being private equity firms. I think that's the next move. It's the only people who would want to step in here at this point, I think, is people who are looking to gut the whole place and sell it all off. And they might not want to do that. GameStop might not want to do that.
They're going to look at their shareholder numbers and be like, I guess the new board is random people from Reddit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could, right?
Anyway.
Well, this is a downer. Can we do something funny?
Yeah, let's talk about patch notes.
Excellent.
Because that's something that we delve into on occasion. It's whenever there's like a set of patch notes that, especially it's often games that are like in early access or in development, in active development still. They'll be doing a lot of tuning, and so you get these wonderful patch notes where of changing all sorts of different things. Fighting games are particularly good for patch notes, actually, because they'll get stuff like, change this punch by 2 frames, change this by change the number of iframes you get by this.
Yeah.
Nerf Wii Fit Trainer, yeah.
Fighting games are definitely full of.
But in this case, we're talking about Valheim, sorry, which is, again, actually the other kind of game that is great for patch notes is these big open world games where you have so many different interactions between things. People can craft stuff and build stuff and things. And there's so many things that, can happen that were maybe not originally planned in the context of the game that you end up with these great notes, which, in this case, for instance, apparently setting up fires around the spawn points for enemies.
Yeah. Fires are actually pretty lethal.
Was a big thing, which, I mean, I feel like that would have been like a legitimate strategy for, I guess spawn points don't exist in the real world, but surrounding somebody's house with fire, being like, haha.
We watched Let's Game It Out did a video, and he basically just using fires to kill everything. The fact that they've made it so that fires eventually go away so that they can't kill things is
that's fires.
I wouldn't doubt if it was due to that, alone.
I'm pretty sure that's like the opposite how fires work. Like as fires, when fires burn things, they get better, they get bigger.
Yeah. And it's weird because the more a campfire burns, it will eventually burn out because it consumes all of its fuel. So I can understand the idea of a campfire taking self-damage by burning, that it's like, yes, it'll eventually go away. Mm-hmm. But if you've lit something else on fire, all you've done is just made a bigger campfire. That's all you've done.
I'll notice that in that patch note list that at least what got read off in CheckPoint, they did not limit the amount of, because the other thing he did was he spawned
like 30 goddamn
the boss
bosses.
a million times. And then had a hard time getting away because he put his spawn point underneath the floor of it. And at least in what got read out, that was not
Yeah.
That was not a fix.
Well, I mean, because like if you're spawning stuff, then it's like we're not going to balance things around people.
Yeah.
I mean, the change that they did make that is relevant to that is the thing that brings up the developer console, or the thing that allows you to spawn things, is now dev commands instead of I am a cheater, which is you had to type that in previously, which is.
Oh.
I guess they're like, okay, fine. We don't want people to have the bad feels for doing that.
That's fair.
Oh.
Yeah, this was also, I think this story was also, Graham just wanted to say the word lutefisk as much as possible, which is fair.
It's lutefisk. It's lutefisk is how it's pronounced. And I was going to say something about that, and I was like, oh, he's having fun.
Yeah, given the amount of times people during Desert Bus want us to try and pronounce British town names,
Road good, my flood.
It is.
I'm hardly gonna get after Graham for seeing the word loot written down and saying it that way.
I remember we actually did some research on it, like back in the day when we were doing like Iron Stomach stuff. I did some research on lutefisk, just being like, is it available? Is this thing you can get? And the thing about it, for one thing, it is notoriously one of the worst things to eat. There's a great description of it that it's like, this in a book called like The Man Who Ate Everything, is like, this is the one thing that he would not eat.
I thought the comment was interesting too, that somebody's like, the only reason why it comes out in a jellied consistency is that if you didn't rinse all the lye off properly. And I'm like, what? Really? What?
If you leave it too long, it does turn into soap.
Ah, yeah.
With the
That's
lye.
fair. Okay.
Also, it's also apparently one of those things where it's like, oh, it's a Norwegian delicacy. Nobody in Norway eats, like only like expats who want to. It's only people from who like, I have Norwegian heritage and we're going to have an authentic Norwegian meal.
Like I see that about a lot of different types of foods, especially things that are made by like letting it rot and do whatever, and it's like really disgusting, and people are like, in order to get people to eat this, we actually force our babies to eat them, and I'm like, okay, maybe that's not really a thing then.
But weirdly, natto is eaten all the time in Japan by actual Japanese people and nowhere else in the world.
I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that many people actually eat it in Japan.
Anyway, my favorite, the other thing
gross.
on the patch notes that didn't make it into the story, that I really liked was the comfort calculation has been fixed.
Yes. What does that even mean?
Which, now you're only it's 50% snuggly and 37% cuddly instead of 47% snuggly. We found that the snuggliness was slightly OP. Also, the Mengenkjorn item collider has been fixed. So, thank God. Thank Thor, Odin, somebody.
Do they worship gods in Valheim? In the game,
it's Norse, kind of.
Not. I don't know if Valheim's the name of a real place.
The Astro City Mini, which
I was
a cool little video game thing. Which, hey, we should actually check. Is it?
I did.
Is it sold out?
Oh no, absolutely, it was.
It's sold out.
It's
It went on sale.
Limited run always does 2 batches.
So
there's technically a second run. They'll do it like, I think it's 6 p.m.
They are doing in under 15 minutes, in 14 minutes and 50 seconds.
3 p.m. We're not getting that.
In 14 minutes and 50 seconds.
I've never managed to get a special edition of anything. That's
you will be able to get. You'll be able to try to get yourself another Astro City Mini if you want. So they have 3,500 total. They're clearly doing it in that bent kind of thing.
They do that that's always how they do a thing.
Yeah.
There's one in the morning, there's one in the afternoon, and that's, I think, partially for time zones, but also to give people a second chance.
Yeah.
I gotta say that's actually like 3,500 is actually like that's like a reasonable amount. It's not like we have 50, first come first serve. Like
Yeah.
3,500 is like that's a good amount. Like, I mean, it's a cool little thing. I can't imagine the market is that huge for it, but and the important thing is it's a Japanese import thing, and it is like
Yeah.
not translated or anything. It's just
No. It's in that
it is what it is.
It is in English language packaging, which means that it's the kind of thing that technically, if you were a retail operator, you could buy a dozen of these and sell them in your store in the fact that they have English language packaging. So it's like they can sit on a shelf and they can all be written in English. But everything inside is the game as it existed in Japan, which means it's either already all in English, because that happens a lot with Japanese games where the P1 and score and all the menu items, everything else is written in English anyway, or portions of it will be written in Japanese, but menu items will all be written in English, so you'll be able to find your way through that. For example, Golden Axe is entirely within English, but Golden Axe Revenge of Death Adder has portions of untranslated text, but the menus are all English. Wonder Boy and Monsterland is a game that has menus and text in Japanese. So there are several games in here that don't kind of match the thing. Now, the reason I brought this up again, because I was like, hey, it's actually coming out, and nobody will be able to get one, because there's only 3,500 of these like this, so you're not going to be able to get one. That's whatever. But also I brought it up because it's like I want to be able to poke our friends Ben Swallow and Ian Horner and be like, hey, you guys want one of these, don't you? Good fucking luck. And I mean, it'd be cool to have one in the moon base,
I
but
definitely made sure Ian found out about Pepsi that tastes like Peeps.
Yeah.
For a reason.
So what you're saying is that you didn't put it, like in the story, you talk about how you brought it up just so you can share with people that they will not be getting one.
Yeah,
but
I'll be part of a group.
That wasn't true. The reason why you wrote the story was not because you wanted to share it with all the people who won't be getting one. You brought it up because you specifically wanted to rub it in the face of Ian and Ben.
Two good friends of mine. Yes. That, and I also wanted to have an opportunity to plug High Score Girl, which is, I think, a really fun anime that's currently showing on Netflix. God, the character designs are so ugly. It's great. Kids are ugly. Just look at them. They're just, kids are ugly. Anyway, in that's 11 minutes now you have to get on the page and wait.
I mean, I would get in there early and make sure your payment stuff is already filled out and a bunch of those things, and probably have an account pre-made. I don't think they have like one click whatever, but
no,
if you want to up your chances, and I've done that and I still failed. So not on this. I got up super early to try to get the special edition Switch version of Celeste, and that was impossible.
Yeah, you were not going to see that happen.
Also from limited run.
Mm-hmm. I got the regular cartridge because that's
get something.
They always, that is never a hard thing to get if you get in on the pre-order for. But
yeah,
I've definitely seen the special edition for that show up at booths at conventions and at other places, and it's very expensive.
$200
and I'm not
or
spending
more.
money on that.
Yeah. So yeah. I think I wouldn't mind having one myself in my house, even though I don't give a shit really about Sega. But that I do think it is. I did like Sega arcade games back in the day, and they are fun.
And think of how great it would be to have one in your house, but Ian not have one.
Yes. And the thing is, too, is it'd be like, and Ben, I would assume Ben Swallow would be jealous, except Ben would one day just send me a picture of him sitting at his actual Astro City cabinet in his house.
Ben doesn't get jealous, I think.
No, he gets even.
I think he just goes and gets custom.
Yeah.
Yeah, people pointed out in the comments that it's like, it'd probably be more expensive, but an actual Astro City thing might be easier to get.
Yeah, it's true.
And then talking about Fortnite, all the folks, which is it's basically like they send out this survey to random people in the Fortnite user base, being like, do you know these people? Would you like to see them in Fortnite? So it's basically, I was thinking, it's like, with the Smash memes, the Super Smash memes of like, put this person, it's basically like, say we weren't cowards, who should we put in this game?
Well,
But
so
it's such a like the idea, Smash gets so many people, like Smash Brothers gets so many people like desperately pounding at their door with like, put this person in the game, put this person in the game, as opposed to Fortnite, who actually is actively like soliciting for people to do that.
Well, and that's the other thing too. I see articles all the time where people are like, such and such company is willing to have their character placed in Smash the game, and I'm like, yeah, no one cares about Fortnite because I think Fortnite might be easier to get into.
The fact that there are video game companies out there who are like, I just really want to get
and they're
our
not.
main
It's
character
not
in
just
Smash.
indies, right? There's like AAA developers who say stuff like that.
I really want to see our thing show up in Smash. It'd be so good. Why can't we have that?
There may be evidence of this somewhere. I have not seen evidence that Epic has refused to put anybody in Fortnite. That they have
I think Fortnite might be an easier. I think Fortnite might be an easier club to get into than getting that Smash invite.
It's like there's lots of room in Tomato Town. There's 10 dead already, so there's lots of room for you to move in if you want. Jesus.
Yeah. So yeah, and also Graham was talking about the protagonist of Resident Evil 6 and 7, who is just it turns out that and that's true with like a lot of characters, especially first person shooter characters. But it's like, if your game is a game in which it's supposed to take place in basically the real world, I mean, Resident Evil not so much, but if your guy is supposed to, like, if the main character of the game is supposed to be a regular person, then it's like it's not that compelling to do, say, cosplay of that person, or to do a avatar of that person. Cosplay of Ethan Winters is not like, you could accidentally do cosplay of him just by what you happen to be wearing.
I've just seen guys at conventions who look exactly like him walking around with like a backpack on. They don't have the scar where his hand fell off and he had to get it put back on again. But yeah, it's like,
well, sometimes you're playing a pre hand cut off version.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's a tricky one where it's like it's these choosing characters that don't actually have any like compelling visual style or like abilities or anything. Like, I haven't played Resident Evil, but I'm guessing this guy doesn't have any like magical powers that he's going to be showing
Probably
off.
not.
Yeah, or gun.
I mean, it's Resident Evil. You probably get, depending on the Resident Evil.
Yeah.
That because I think some of those hit heavier action, so you may have gotten more guns in those.
You need, like,
but in probably other ones that are going for more of a horror vibe, you probably get a gun and a bullet.
Yeah.
At some point.
And some medicinal herbs and delicious typewriter ribbons.
Sure.
And then the final thing is talking about Monster Hunter Rise coming out for Switch, which
that was today.
Everybody's very excited about. And I think this is, I mean, the example that people always talk about is what's the game? Not Dragon Warrior.
Yeah, Dragon Quest.
When new Dragon Quests come out, like, productivity in Japan drops on that day. Everyone goes home. That's sort of a known thing. And and I guess this. I wonder if it's just like he wanted to, There's. I think they were getting like a lot of people calling in, using their sick days or whatever, and it was just like,
And they were being upfront about it too. It's like, I will be sick on this day. The day Monster Hunter Rise comes out, wink, wink. Do I need to be more obvious about why I'm going to be sick? Like, they're just like, you know what?
The CEO probably wanted to do it too. So you know what?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell that the three of us do not play this game.
No.
Because I
And
didn't even
therefore
know
had
when
to
it was
come
coming
to
out.
work today.
Yeah.
I knew. It looks pretty. Monster Hunter is one of those games where I look at it and I'm like, I want to like you. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
going to, so I guess I will watch other people like you.
I mean, this is of course a game that's been available on other consoles for a while, but this is the first time it's come out on Switch.
Yeah.
So-
Well, no, it's the first one made for Switch.
Oh, is this?
I
I think they, I think they had a port of a
World?
different game.
Yeah, World did
and this
come out on
one,
Switch.
this one's the first one that's made for Switch, and it runs really well on Switch. And also, it's new as opposed to the other one, which I think was a port.
Right,
Generations or
didn't-
World or
didn't
something?
run- Monster Hunter World, which didn't run that well on the Switch because it was.
Yeah, it was made for a completely different thing.
Right. All right. So there's a couple other stories that we didn't talk about, or we missed the first thing. For one thing, there's a new game from Spryfox, the developers of Triple Town and Alpha Bear and some other great mobile games. And it's called, it's sort of their take on Animal Crossing, I guess. It's got the most, like, if I was like a satire of an Animal Crossing kind of game,
Okay.
then it's called Cozy Grove. And it's kind of like Animal Crossing, except everybody's ghosts. But
Nice.
they're like friendly,
Yeah.
happy, cute ghosts.
The
It's-
art style, like the moving around thing, actually makes me think of
Don't Starve.
Don't Starve,
But again,
but cuter.
cuter.
Yeah, like a cute Don't Starve
See,
game.
Death Stranding is a little bit like Animal Crossing, but with not cute ghosts. It's slightly different. So yeah, developers know that the game was designed to be a game that you can comfortably settle into. And while they estimate the story campaign will take 40 plus hours, they don't want people to feel like they have to play it 8 hours a day or something to get everything out of the game.
Ah, okay. So a little like Animal Crossing in the sense of like it's that sedate thing, whatever, but it's probably more like Stardew Valley in the fact that if there's time, it's not going to be like real world time.
And you just, it's one. I think they're going for one of those games where you like play it. It's like, oh yeah, this game is so nice. I'll just play it like a little bit, and then when you see your like hours played, it's frightening because you played it for like half an hour a day for 5 years.
Yeah. I find a lot of people will equate a lot of games to Animal Crossing right now because Animal Crossing was a very big seller. A lot of people are still playing it and whatnot. But like cozy games like this have been around for a long time. And for me, an Animal Crossing game is still very much more like, well, it's a bit like a life sim, sure. But no one else I know has been doing the 24-hour clock real world time. And to me, that's like the thing that still makes Animal Crossing different from everything else.
We want Cozy Grove to become a delightful ritual that you look forward to every day, and for it to remain that way for many weeks, months, or possibly even years. When everything else in your life might be chaotic, Cozy Grove will hopefully be a place where you can predictably and regularly find a bit of joy. Also, there's a great Mitchell and Webb sketch that was like it was like an ad for a television station where it's like, watch this television station. We've got all sorts of relaxing things. You can watch Vickers walking along on front gardens, expecting things. You can, watch people just being really happy. You can watch people relaxing, people sleeping, and all these just nice, relaxing, happy things. And then it cuts to like a wide shot. And it's like a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and it's like, this broadcast brought to you by your robot overlords. Do not attempt to overcome the. It's
Yeah,
just like,
I feel like there's a maybe not a surge specifically in cozy and comfort games happening so much as a push for marketing those games more right now because of everything that's going on. People are like, oh, people actually want to have games that are about being comfortable and okay with life instead of maybe not right now.
I mean, I was actually just. I mean, I'm thinking, mentioning it a lot because, of course, I'm thinking about it a lot right now. But I've been, playing the Death Stranding on Play It Forward, and there's been I've seen in comment sections, not on our thing, but like on Reddit and stuff. I've seen people talking about how they really wish there was a version of the game like you could play it without the story and the ghosts and the like bandits that attack you and stuff, and just be like, I'm gonna wander around this really amazing, beautiful, beautiful world and deliver packages to people. I think that would be nice. And that is, at least at this point, not something that's in the game, but there is demand for it, certainly. Other stuff.
I got one in my cart.
Yeah, but did you get it out of the cart?
Yeah, I took it out of the cart.
Oh, like...
No, I put it in my cart. I waited about 10 seconds. I took it out of the cart just for fun.
That
Just
putting in your cart doesn't do anything.
People?
It's not.
Just to feel like, I did it. I could have bought it.
No, you couldn't have. Let me tell you, getting it in your cart does not make you get to buy it. You do not get to buy it until you get through the purchase screen.
That's sad.
Definitely gotten things in the cart. You don't know how this works. Stop pretending.
You're right. I'm just a poser when it comes to buying limited edition stuff.
Fake gamer nerd.
Yeah. You want to see my Vision of Escaflowne box set?
Love you.
Anyway.
In the realm of things similar to the Switch story that is, shall we say, informed rumors in the sense that nothing has been confirmed. Reportedly, Microsoft is in talks to acquire Discord, which is one of those things where I think there's an article on Bloomberg about it, and it was basically like, apparently there was a bunch of Discord has been looking to has shown their willingness to be acquired, apparently. Has been exploring sale options, and they've had
has gone to meetings and gotten free cookies. I don't know. I'm assuming that's what happens is there's a bunch of people who are like, we'd really like to buy your company. And you're like, oh, we'll go to a meeting and talking about it. Oh, we brought cookies. Cool. We'll think about it. Next meeting with cookies, please. I don't know.
$10 million or $5 million, but also cookies.
Yeah.
This is a tough one. So, I mean, this is one of these weird situations where everyone's like, but Microsoft Teams and Skype, they have that already.
Yeah.
It's technology companies are weird in that way, where it's like sometimes you're buying it for the technology, sometimes you're buying it just for the user base, sometimes it's both, sometimes it's neither. Who knows?
Also, I don't give a shit about Xbox, but let's just talk about Xbox for a second then, because Xbox Live already has a voice chat element built into it.
Sure.
Right? But that isn't Skype, and that isn't Microsoft Teams.
Uh-huh.
It's probably not even based on either of those.
It probably wouldn't be Discord if they acquired Discord.
But that's
either.
the thing, is like it's probably not based on either of those things. But the idea that Microsoft could buy Discord, which is largely seen as a game chat and game texting service, like largely seen as that kind of thing, that there would probably be value there where it's like Microsoft buys this thing because they're looking to integrate it. They would end up integrating it into Xbox, as opposed to being this is a corporate messaging service, or this is a consumer messaging service. It's like, no, this is a gaming messaging service.
Yeah.
And that might be their play here, is to be like this fits into the
guess.
Xbox strategy.
I mean, as some, like, I don't know how Discord operates, but as somebody who uses Discord for a lot of stuff, I feel like the technology is not that impressive.
Yeah,
Like
it's
Discord, like I don't think Discord can teach Skype anything about how to operate about how to do calls.
yeah.
I think there's all sorts of other stuff that they could, that the actual like the integration with the messaging and all that kind of stuff is interesting. But in terms of the actual, like I don't think Microsoft needs Discord's tech in terms of like how to make a video call.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's like the game streaming stuff. Discord has some smart stuff with that. I don't know.
I think they buy Discord more because it's their purchasing of an audience. Microsoft doesn't have a social media setup within the company, really. Like, if they do, I can't even think of what it is because they got rid of MSN Messenger. But the idea that you buy Discord so that you have access to all of the social media, and especially like pseudo private social media, right? Very, very blocked off social media services. That's maybe not a bad play for them either, to be like, now we have access to this thing that does this. That isn't Teams, which is something where it's like, we made Teams because we need to have a solution because Slack existed. But when you exist in I'm on several Slacks, I'm also on several Discords. I wish I didn't have to be on both of those things. That having to be on those kind of things. But I also see where they occupy
we just
those
have a
kind of
monopoly?
spaces. Right? It's like, I just want to be on
company-
a thing and not have to think about it. But
Couldn't one company just own everything and operate it? Wouldn't that be so much more simple?
And the thing is, I don't think that, I don't want Microsoft to buy Discord because I don't want to undergo the change.
They might not, and even if they did, it might not change. They might not do anything with it.
Right. Even if they did buy it, they might just be like,
Yeah.
we just own it now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, there was a bunch of scuttlebutt about that, I suppose. I think that was actually, let me just double check here. I think that was there was 6 stories this week in the actual episode of CheckPoint. So there's more stories than we usually do. I mean, I guess we did the quick points before, but so I think that was actually most of the stories that we wanted to talk about.
Cool. Can I tell you something I've learned today?
Oh yeah.
I think the new Story of Seasons game has the greatest shorthand for it. It's Story of Seasons, so SOS.
That's the new Harvest Moony thing, right?
Yeah, it's Harvest Moon without the name.
Harvest Moon, actually made by people who made Harvest Moon, not the ones who stuck around. Yeah. Pioneers of Olive Town. What does that spell?
Poot. Sauce
SOS Poot.
Yeah.
SOS Poot. Help, Poot.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Pioneers
Mayday.
of Olive Town.
Poot. Yeah. I've seen people in my timeline playing it, and I've never played a Story of Seasons game, but the cows look really cute. What they do?
It's just kind of a weird thing to
lovable
pick.
Cows.
Yeah. I mean, they say a farming simulator lives and dies by how cute its cows are.
True.
I also saw an article just before we went live about Katana Zero has had free DLC in the works for a while, and the last time they talked about it, that free DLC had grown in scope, and then today it had grown in scope again to the point where it's still going to be free, but it's 6 times larger than they were planning before. And that's like half the size of the game that is already out.
So it's
but it's
Katana
still
Zero
free.
Silk Song.
And yeah, I'm like, Katana Zero is turning into Hollow Knight, isn't it?
Well, no,
It's just got this DLC creep going on.
it's I mean, that's literally what, because it's Katana Zero is Yacht Club, right? Or they published it, right?
I think so. I can't
And that's
remember.
literally what they did with Shovel Knight. Is they're each of the like expansions for like the different knights is effectively an entirely new game. And so I guess they're doing the same thing.
Yes, I gotta finish playing the game. I probably have to start over because I'm sure I got really bad at it by not playing it.
Is it good?
It's
Katana Zero?
it's a really interesting game. I'm pretty sure that depending on what you do, different things happen. But I don't know if that's true or not, or if the game just makes me think that's true. But I liked it. I liked what I played of it.
Nice.
Okay, so for everyone who's asking when I'm doing an anime season roundup, when the season is over, I will do the anime season roundup. That was easy.
When is
So
the
soon.
season, when is the season over?
Essentially at the end of March.
Yeah, because episode 12 should be hitting.
Yeah, there will be number 1s coming up soon. So probably it will be like either I don't think I'm doing it this Sunday or this Monday.
Beach likes to pick a time very last minute.
Yeah.
So just watch this channel.
Yeah, but I will be
guess.
doing one. I just don't know when it's going to be yet. But we'll figure it out.
All right, let's talk about what's coming up next. Because what's coming up next is Friday Night Paper Fight. It's happening at 5 o'clock. And that is going to be Ben Ulmer's Arena Peasant Cube. That's uncommons and commons for Arena. So they're going to be drafting it and then making those decks and playing in Arena. So it should be super fun. And that is coming up in just a little under 2 hours. And then on Saturday, Loading Ready Live.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? Something is going to happen. That is,
It's in the name.
that is
Tagline
all,
anyway.
that's all we guarantee.
Yeah.
But we have a reasonable idea of what will happen, what we hope will happen.
Well, we'll find out if it occurs.
And then on
true.
Sunday, Rhythm Cafe, Heather and Ian are doing some more
Yeah.
taiko drumming.
We're in Japan now. And it's not Nobunaga times this time, which is
Ooh.
odd. It's Susanoo?
Don't know
Susa no O.
Sasano is
know what to do in
is
Japan
there.
when Nobunaga isn't around.
I mean, I guess he got to be in the last game when we went to Japan. But
Susa no O is the moon god, the ancient moon god. Is the counterpart to Amaterasu, who's the sun goddess.
well, he's not a god right now.
No.
He's an annoying
Is he a taiko drum?
shonen boy,
Ah.
I think, or maybe that's the other character. I can't remember. I never remember anything we do in this game until we get back to it, and then I'm like, oh right. And then Ian and I forget who is voicing who, and then we swap voices because we're not going to go do our homework.
It's a question in the chat. Is this the most epic series that has been on Rhythm Cafe?
It might be the longest one at this point. I usually have them going past 10 episodes like this.
And then Sunday evening, it's Is This Your Card? Legends of Runeterra. Ben Wheeler is going to be playing Legends of Runeterra. And looking, I believe this is kind of a extra episode that he was doing 3 episodes of it. Of sort of learning the game and stuff, and then this episode is going to be playing some drafts and stuff, whatever. I don't even know how you play Legends of Runeterra. He's going to be doing that though.
Yeah, I don't know, but I will note that because I put the second episode up on the VOD channel yesterday, and we're past that. I think he's on like 5 now. He added in some information. He got me some deck list information that I've added to episode 2.
Oh, okay.
So if you've watched it and were hoping to find that information for some reason, you can now find that in the description on the Loading Ready Live channel.
And then on Monday, I'm going to be continuing my play it forward of Death Stranding, lifting heavy things and carrying them to places, and also reuniting the America.
Oh,
There's like two slightly conflicting objectives. Everyone's like, you are the most important person in the world. You're the only one who can do this. We need you to go to all these different outposts and connect them up to our network. So then, we can join up and America can come together. And then everyone else, and then people are like, also, while you're going there, could you take this random box of crap? And also, could you
going
pick
anyway.
up some random other stuff along the way to pick up could you? I've got these action figures that I want you to send over. That I want to go over here. Could you go and do that, please?
Can you grab milk on the way home?
I mean, I literally
that'd
did
be
that
really
to Ian
great.
the other day. He was out doing stuff. I'm like,
I
hey,
know.
can you go to Valley Village and get me a power adapter? He's like, yes. He offered, really. I mean, he was the one like, I can go to Valley Village and check. I'm like, neat. And then he found one and brought it to my house. I'm like, I didn't have to go anywhere, and all it cost me was a Google Home Mini.
That Beach got for free. This was a weird trading game sequence.
Think about this as like one
very
red
odd.
paperclip, but yeah.
And so, anyway, Death Stranding, check it out. I've been enjoying it a lot. This will be the 4th episode. Will be on Monday. So I've done 3 already. And then on Monday evening, it is episode 2 of our new Dice Friends campaign, Queer as Hell, which has been super fun so far. It is a bunch of bards that have to go that are in hell, attempting to help out a archdevil that is lost confidence in himself.
Aw.
Yeah, lots of guests on that. Lots of people don't normally see on Dice Friends on that.
Yeah,
Because I think Wheeler's on that as well, right?
Wheeler's on that?
I don't think we've had Wheeler on a Dice Friends previously.
it is being run by Michelle Rapp, who you may remember from Honey Heist, and she was also on one of our Jackbox streams. But super fun, highly recommended. And then Monday evening, it is Escape from Tarkov, where James is going to be escaping from Tarkov, except he's not. It should be.
No.
It should really be called like hanging out in Tarkov, rather than
Well,
escape
I mean,
from Tarkov.
Putting down roots in Tarkov.
If you think
Yeah.
of the idea that James
Shopping
did Piff
for
and then he
bungalows.
escaped into one more, the question really is, when will he escape into another stream? And
Oh,
whose
it's
stream
true.
is he going to take
Oh,
over?
yeah.
Like,
He
Paul,
escaped-
you're safe. He already did Piff.
Yeah, he
But
escaped from.
I
Dark
don't
Forward.
know. I don't know if he'll take over Rhythm Cafe one day.
Oh, no.
And I'm not going to be happy about that,
He just starts shooting his gun in a very rhythmic fashion.
right?
And then on Tuesday, it is 9 o'clock, followed by Control, and then
Talking
Resident
Sim?
Evil 5 on
On
Let's
Let's
Nope. Lots of cool stuff coming up. LoadingReadyRun.com/live is the place to go to see the full schedule and all the stuff that's coming up. And there's also a link to the calendar and everything there. And now shall thank all the awesome people who subscribed during this stream, starting with
Perfect. Now that it's all gone dark, they can
Just put it up in front of your face.
like that. There, it's in front of my face.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Cool. Now rotate. There you go.
Yes.
this
There's
is
your...
for you.
This is Escaflowne.
all
Yeah.
these people
It's
who
the-
subscribe.
This is the Vision of Escaflowne Perfect Vision limited edition TV series DVD box set. It comes with DVDs in one box, and in the other box is a limited edition Black Escaflowne action figure.
Which we will never see.
You will never ever see
We'll
it.
never see any
because
of it,
is
because Beach
covered
refuses
in
to
dust. You can tell
open
from
boxes. He sealed it with security dust. So
Yeah.
he'll know if anyone touches it.
The original price tags are still on it. one of which is faded out from being in the
goodness.
sun, and one of which is not.
Get that away from me. It's disgusting how much money you paid for
I
that.
didn't pay that much money
I know,
for that.
but it's still disgusting.
It's priced at $302.
So
I did not pay that much for it.
Why were you showing that during the stream?
Is he brought it up and somebody in the chat said they wanted to see it.
Kushinoki said they wanted to see it. So I was like, all right, well, I'll bring it out. Why not? You got to understand, everybody, things cost a lot of money back then, too.
I remember. I used to spend, if I wanted to get a card captured Sakura DVD in Japanese with 4 episodes on it, maybe 3, because I can't remember, but it was not a lot. It was $60 locally.
Yeah.
Because the only place that sold anime that I could get a hold of, because online shopping was not that big a thing yet, was ripping everyone off.
Do you remember A&B Sound, Paul? We got time. You don't have to fucking go anywhere. Remember A&B Sound?
Yes.
Yes.
I remember that they existed.
Yes, and they're closed now. But A&B Sound used to have a thing where every so often they'd have a sale on. Where it was like all the DVDs they had, all their DVDs, anything white tagged was 20% off. Anything white tagged was 20% off, which is what I got this for, because it's white tagged at $302. And so I got $60 off this collector's edition set. So I paid $240 for it in Alberta, so with Alberta tax on it, which I think it was GST at the time, but which is
those are Alberta dollars.
Yeah, screaming deal at the time for for being able to get something like that, because it's like, oh my god, because you couldn't find this for under that amount of money anyway. Like you might have been able to find it for maybe $280 or something, but it's like I got this for $240 plus tax, and that represented an awful lot of money. But I was really excited to get a copy of Escaflowne, but also get like the limited edition copy. I should show you what Heather got me.
All right, while he's doing that, since ChillPoint apparently has an after show portion now.
I thought how many there's CheckPoint, and then there's like a CheckPoint after show. Then there's ChillPoint, which is just more CheckPoint stuff, and then ChillPoint at it's like ChillPoint,
right?
Or it's like CheckPoint is a rock dropped in a lake, and it just keeps sending out ripples.
So I did that bonus stream last week because Let's Nope got pulled off, and I played Mabel in the Wood, it's an interesting game.
That's
but
the girl with like the giant sword that she can't lift, right?
Yeah, and then you turn into a fairy and you pull the sword towards you to like make a thing. No. So I played that game for about 3 hours and 20 minutes on stream. I spent another hour and 20 minutes finishing it offline. And let me tell you,
you finished the game?
It ends, because it's a short game. It ends by you killing a wizard. You're probably the dead princess of the castle, and not the bringer of dawn, like the beginning of the game tried to tell you that you might be. And after you kill the evil wizard, who I think the king is dead and the princess a dick, and he definitely blames that on you being dead as his reasoning for getting to be a dick. But after you slay the wizard, the castle blows up, and then the credits roll. And then you get to go talk to everybody. Only in human, you lose your sword, and you're still slow as ass walking around.
Now
but you can jump now. And your parents are all like, well, sorry shit happened. It'd be nice if we could turn back the clocks, but we can't. The end.
It's like, I'm still dead. What I love is that when you kill the wizard, it just immediately, the moment you land the last hit on the wizard, it immediately shoots to an outside shot of the castle. A beam of light just shoots up from the castle, and then like a white hot explosion, like a meteor strike, just happens. And then the logo comes on screen and the credits roll. Like that's how the game ends.
The interesting thing about this game, Paul, is that you get different transformations. You start off with a fairy one, but you can turn into like a little mole and dig through things and whatnot. But from what I've read, you don't have to go kill any of the bosses, but then you don't get any of their transformations. So you can do a full pacifist run. It's supposedly true, but I can't find a darn walkthrough for this game.
Anyway, the thing that Heather got me for my birthday, Christmas,
I don't know,
whatever,
something.
as a gift one year, is this. And
Empty box.
this is a Cowboy Bebop Perfect Sessions DVD box set, and this was very hard to come by for a while because it's limited edition. And these great little open top things you can get.
Yeah, it was empty.
Bandai was doing this, so this is an empty box Heather got me, and it says Bandai on top and everything else, and all the spelling's correct. So, and I turned and I looked at it on the bottom.
Is that unusual?
Well, because sometimes when you get knockoffs of stuff, they will spell stuff wrong so that they can't be sued.
Yeah, I think this was a display model.
So, yeah, when she got this for me, that big white bar at the bottom, that's supposed to be where
That's supposed to have a print number on it.
There's supposed to be a number printed in there just because this is limited edition. This has no number printed on it. And as best we can determine, this is an art asset or a promo item mailed to stores. This was maybe even something on somebody's desk. This was never something that ever had actual DVDs in it that was available for sale.
Third seller. But I'm pretty sure it's not fake.
Yeah. There's nothing about that says that it's actually fake.
It functions like it's supposed to. It's a nice box, and
it holds all the DVDs. And it also means it doesn't come with the first run of Cowboy Bebop DVDs. I got the 5.1 digital surround sound sessions, so the sound is awesome.
We were very into collecting DVDs of stuff for a while, and if we could get the box to put everything in on the shelf, we really liked that.
It doesn't have any watermark that says the image.
Do not sell.
Yeah,
no, nothing like that.
For position only. Do not sell.
Yeah, this could have been a proof. It could have been a prototype. It could have been something on somebody's desk when they printed too many of them.
I spent ages trying to find the rest of the Full Metal Alchemist tins for you too.
Yeah, the black one was the hardest one to come by.
Yeah, it was.
Which is weird because that's the first one, and the red one is the easiest one to find, but it's the third one. But people stop buying DVDs, but that's kind of why the red ones are always available, or the third set's always available, because everyone stops buying DVDs halfway through a series, and so there's always lots on the market of the ones that didn't sell. That was fun. We should probably go now.
If you want to learn more about Bij's DVD collection, he will probably talk about it in the DVD Roundup show, or the anime roundup show that he will be doing at some point.
Yeah, within the next 7 days. You want to do a
just chatting show where we just pull out all of our DVDs and go through them?
Maybe.
All right. Talk to y'all later.
Bye.